the Hoppies, and that's us, to the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta in northern Colombia to live and work with the Malayos. So now let us share with you a little of our side of life in the tribe. 550 miles north of Loma Linda is the city of Valledupar, lying at the foot of the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta. This is as close as we can get to our tribal location by airplane. There, we pack all of our supplies into a jeep for the 2-hour drive to the village of Atanquis, nestled in the foothills. Atanquis is a quaint Colombian peasant village with a population of about 800. Here, the local Evangelical Church has proved of great assistance to us in various ways, especially in helping us to secure pack animals for the trail. Here the road ends, and the next 12-hour journey into the mountains beyond must be made by muleback or on foot. All of our supplies must be weighed out in equally balanced loads to better ensure the animal's safety on narrow trails and steep ascents. The Indian oxen have proven their strength and sure-footedness in carrying the bulky, heavy loads.
This is how our children rode while they were still small, tied on the top of a mule load. By the time they were 4, they had graduated to riding a donkey, learning to hold on in front uphill and in back downhill. Often the trails passed through dark, steep gullies and wooded areas with creeks to cross and falling stones to watch out for, and then out into the brilliant sunshine again to enjoy its warmth and the beauty of the mountains.
Ever ascending, winding curve after twisting turn, as if reaching for the very heavens itself, and then down again, sliding, slipping, as a new set of muscles come into play. And of course, another valley and another river to cross, now at low water and then at high water, and up again, along narrow ridges, further and further to the interior we plod. And then suddenly, a shout from a nearby field.
Zungwi, Nakamanukwi.
The Malayos are greeting us. We're almost home. As the sun begins to wane in the western sky, beautiful Pozo de Humo is a welcome sight. The trained eye can pick out our house on the far slope. Only a few more hours now.
The animals are tired as we descend into the last valley. Matthew has done well. He's been up since 2 a.m. and like his daddy has covered the 28 miles on foot, prodding the donkeys with his stick.
Rachel and Nathan have done well too. This is the last leg of our journey, the trail up to our house. We're all tired, but happy to be back again.
Rachel's only complaint at the end of one 13-hour trip was,
"Do I have to get off my donkey now?"
Home at last after many months away. Things look much the same as when we left them, except that Feliciano's family has built a new terrace between the houses where Bob broke his leg on that rainy, slippery night in May 1973. We look at the hill across the valley, at the cultivated fields and the houses at Gavilan. We remember how the Indians came to offer their help when Bob was injured. That month of waiting when we weren't sure what to do. But thank the Lord, his leg is all right now.
The ridge across the valley behind our house rises up to a majestic peak. Thunder Mountain. That's what the Malayos call it, because the spirit of the thunder lives there. And down below, several newly burned-off fields blacken the landscape. Yes, this is Malayo country. Pozo de Humo, Cherua, Surimena, Guamaca, Rio Barcino, but to name a few of the valleys. And these are the people. Here a Malayo man with the traditional carrying bags crossed over his chest, long hair and hat. The Malayo woman with white muslin dress, red beads, and red scarf. These folks are retiring, suspicious of outsiders, and with reason. From their earliest contacts with foreigners centuries ago, they have been mistreated and taken advantage of. When we first went into Pozo de Humo as a family, we saw no one on the trails. The place was deserted. Slowly, over the weeks and months that followed, we made friends as people prayed. Gradually, the barriers were broken down. God was at work, giving us an entrance into the hearts and lives of a people who could care less about the foreign white people and their message of the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. As we have made friends, and lives have begun to open, we have been learning a new language and culture so different from our own. These people are farmers, and all farming is done without machinery on 50 and 60-degree slopes. They have some domesticated animals, but meat is scarce, although food in general is not. To outsiders, they appear to be generally happy and content. But to those who really know them, their joy is fleeting, their fears many. Their world of superstitions is real and no small matter, with the possibilities of danger and death in everyday's activities. The Malayos are animists, honoring a pantheon of spirits, both good and bad. Demons are real and fearful, their demands unbearable. This, in short, is their world.
As we returned to Pozo de Humo last time, we were surprised and overjoyed to find the structure of our new house already up. They were really anxious for us to return. There it stood, a real miracle representing hours and hours of work, and most of all the fact that they wanted us to stay. Thank you, Lord. What a joy to pitch in with the people and help. We pulled grass for the roof, lots of it, probably a couple tons.
We had fun rolling lots of bundles of grass down the hill to our new house site.
When the grass above our new house site ran out, we hauled in grass from other areas, on our backs and with donkeys.
The roof was almost on. The house looked like a big haystack, but that's how Daddy said it was supposed to look.
After each day's work, we sat around and talked and ate. That was the joy of house building, talking and eating. I had brought back a big gunny sack of fish from town, especially for that purpose.
When the roof was on, it was time for Daddy and a friend to give the house a haircut with their machetes.
And then the walls were mudded up, and we were ready to move in. How beautiful it looked in the early morning sunrise.
Feliciano, our host, was just about as pleased as we were. When he came to visit us in our new house, he said,
"Now, maybe you won't go away to another valley to live."
He was pleased, too, that we would live in their houses, eat their food, and wear their clothes. The Malayos even talked me into letting my hair grow, and they loved it. What a joy to be so welcomed when not long before the people were putting pressure on Feliciano and his family to have these foreigners thrown out of Pozo Humo. And now they were asking us to stay. Did you share in that victory by praying with us?
Well, it wasn't long before the word got around and visitors started coming. From up the valley and down the valley they came.
We're always glad to have visitors, whether young or old. You see, the battle isn't over by any means. We still have problems, and one of them is that we can't get anyone to sit down with us consistently over the long haul and teach us the language. Not only is it considered an infraction of Malayo law to share language and cultural information with outsiders, but it is punishable in Malayo courts, and the offender may even be poisoned. Besides that, there's lots of work for these subsistence farmers to do, and sometimes only a short visit can be squeezed in while on the way to one's fields or tending the animals.
Others do come to visit for longer periods of time, but generally busy themselves looking at National Geographics or the Malayo photo albums and show little interest in helping us with the language. But they will talk the language with us now that we're able to converse. So, while they are sitting around looking at books or the Viewmaster or working on their Indian crafts, we overhear them talking or chat with them. Also, we have many trade items for sale and medicines which offer us another source of language practice and are a real help to the Indians. Visits are also a good time for sharing our faith in Jesus Christ. At first, we were very limited in what we could share, and the Malayos weren't really interested either, and told us so. But things are changing because of the prayers of God's people. On several occasions, Feliciano and Delfina have asked us to tell them God's story again. We have some stories in Malayo on tape, and they sit and listen to the recorder intently, and even invite their friends to listen.
The gospel seems very difficult for them to understand, so different from their own religious system. Certainly the God of this world has blinded their eyes. As they listen again and again, they shake their heads in approval but say,
When will we ever learn what God's paper says?
Please pray that their eyes might be opened and that they might come to know our Lord Jesus Christ soon, whom to know aright is life eternal. Dottie has also been able to win her way into the hearts of many of the women by learning their skills. Here she is making a traditional men's cotton bag while chatting with friends.
Here my mommy and Delphine are making a strap for a bag.
We have learned just how ingenious the Malayos can be, making use of everything in their environment. Here Dottie spins a native fiber into a string for making a hammock. And Delphina teaches her how to make the hammock on a simple loom of 2 poles and a shuttle called a zeku in Malayo, meaning scorpion. And how about a little color for the hammock, or one of the carrying bags? Off to the woods for a certain type of bark called nola.
This bark, when pounded and left to steep in hot water overnight, produces a beautiful rusty brown color. It sure adds to the looks of the hammock. Bob also gets a little bit of instruction from Feliciano on how to put the end strings in the hammock and tie them off. The women also taught me how to spin string from raw homegrown cotton. Quite an art.
In addition to the novelty of learning Malayo handcrafts, there are the necessities of daily life, such as washing clothes at the nearest laundromat, where you can enjoy the peaceful mountain stream and a refreshing bath when the wash is done. And of course, there are other household chores like house cleaning, sewing, and, well, you women know all about that kind of thing. But in this case, when there is no refrigeration, the drying of fresh meat is more difficult. And then, like in many houses, there is that favorite place, the kitchen. Not only do our everyday meals come from there, but also special goodies, and Saturday's bread. And of course,
Birthdays! This is my 9th birthday.
This is my 5th birthday.
And when it is birthday time, there is a fiesta, you know, a party, and there are games.
And the children get to invite their Indian friends.
And there is lots of fun, and sharing, and goodies, and we get to know our friends better, and they get to understand us outsiders, and pretty soon we get to feeling like insiders. Well, parties can't last forever, but us kids really do have quite a ball in the tribe, most of the time. We have school here, too. Mommy helps us with most of it, but Daddy does, too, when he can.
We like Matthew to read his school books to us, too.
When school's over for the day, there are lots of other things to keep us busy, and I don't just mean playing either. The animals have to be brought up from way down in the corral now and then to be checked over, and given corn and vitamins, and just to make sure they're okay.
Did you hear that our good mule Machi tried to lay down and bathe himself on a narrow trail while it was raining and slid right down over the hill and broke his neck? We sure do miss him.
We've been working on some community development projects with the Indians, too. Since meat is scarce up here, we brought up some purebred pigs to upgrade the Indian stock. We've also built demonstration rabbit and chicken pens, and the Indians seem to be getting quite interested in our experiments. Here Matthew and Nathan are cutting banana leaves with their machetes to feed the rabbits. They eat many different types of greens.
It's difficult to see us under this mountain of leaves. The rabbits sure do eat a lot. We started out with 6, but rabbits sure have a lot of babies. We soon had over 30, and then 50.
Matthew feeds the rabbits greens each day. I change their water, and Rachel feeds them pellets and corn.
I really do like my little black rabbit.
The idea of chicken coops took a little while to catch on, but since the Indians lose so many of their chickens to eagles, hawks, and wild animals, they soon became interested when we didn't lose our chickens. Not having to hunt all over the mountainside for their eggs also interested them.
Matthew and I also go to work with the Indian boys in their fields, carrying firewood and grinding sugar cane.
Sometimes I have friends over to play with me. See the Band-Aid where my daddy put 3 stitches in my head?
There are also those once-a-year activities that we get involved in, like gathering the queen ants when they come out in May. But it's not really all that easy, and you've got to have persistence and tough feet to stay on top of the anthill waiting for the queen ants when the soldier ants are biting you. But it pays off in the end and adds a little bit of protein to the diet.
Do you want some?
The type of meat we get most from the Malayos is iguana, like the one my dad is holding. It can take the place of chicken in spaghetti or stew.
At the end of a big day, the children are ready for bed. So after stories and prayer time, it's up the ladder to the loft.
Good night. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Have a good night's sleep.
Bob was able to learn some of the men's skills, like hat making. Feliciano taught him how to weave the cane leaf centers to come up with a band of woven material like this. That is later sewed into a hat. After careful observation and practice, he made a couple hats of his own. Bob also learned a lot about house making and was able to spend time with the men in their fields. A cup of hot, mountain-grown coffee, anyone? We trade for coffee beans with the Indians. I toast it, Bob grinds it, and then I brew it into a thick Indian-style coffee. Anyone coming by gets a cup at the only Christian coffee house in Pozo de Humo. We also accept the maguey fiber from the Indians in exchange for trade items, allowing them another means to barter with us and another outlet for language practice. We sell the maguey in atanques. Bob finds time now and then to do some hunting. It allows us to have a little fresh meat on the table and is a good way of relaxing.
The medical work among the Malayos has been one of the main openings that the Lord has given us, not only for entering, but also for staying in the tribe. Jesus Christ was interested in the whole man, and we are too.
Here Bob is in our clinic preparing an injection. The card file in the foreground is our medical record of all the patients we've treated, some of them a number of times. The colorful carrying bag sitting next to it has been accepted in exchange for medicines. The black object to Bob's right is a cassette player used in sharing the good news. This woman brought her burned child on a donkey, and we were able to give the child loving care to show them God's love in a practical way.
At first, many of the parents wouldn't bring their children or come themselves when they were sick or had toothaches. Some even let their children die rather than risk bringing them to us, as this woman later told us after she lost one child.
I was afraid you'd eat my children. But what was the use? Why not go to the foreigners? My children are all going to die anyway.
She brought her 5 children, and God touched their bodies, and they lived. This woman waited until the baby's burns were a couple of weeks old before she came. Thank God the baby is completely healed now. This man smashed his finger in a sugarcane press. We were able to put 13 stitches in it and save the finger. Dottie also helps with the medical work, as there is always a lot to do.
Bob has made a number of medical trips to other valleys. On one recent case, a man had been bitten by a large poisonous snake. Bob was able to give him antivenom and proper treatment, staying up with him all night and even feeding him intravenously. The man lived.
Trips to other valleys are opening up new areas of the tribe that have thus far been closed to us. Pray that God will continue to give and use these opportunities as He sees fit.
One of the most thrilling things for us this last time in the tribe was the construction of a study house for Bob. Previously, he would study with whomever he could, and wherever, like here on the trail. Well, I'm sure this type of study will still go on to some degree, but now he has a quiet place to study, off the beaten trails, which should encourage better study habits.
And hopefully allow some of the interested Indians to study and translate the scriptures with me in privacy, which is much needed. To date, we have finished the study of our sound system and sufficient grammar analysis to begin translating the scriptures. We have done some trial Bible translation, but haven't been able to get Malayo help in checking it. Please remember this in prayer. Sometimes, while looking out the study window, I daydream about the completion of our New Testament in Malayo, and also our much-needed primer series. We have completed trial copies of an alphabet book, reader, and first and second primer. These also are in need of final checking. These, then, are the Malayos. Shouldn't they, too, have the privilege of hearing the good news of God's redeeming love? Malayo men, Malayo women, and Malayo children, as yet without God and without hope in this world, shackled to their traditions with eyes blinded by Satan. They continue in their own ways, and as they must bear the burden of their physical labors, so their load of sin is heavy upon them. These 2 women pictured here have already died without Christ. Their graves go unattended. Some of you have chosen to throw in your lot with us, whom God has called to go to the Malayos. Will you not be more earnest in taking the cause of these dear people to the throne of the King of Kings before the Malayo hillsides are dotted with more Christless graves?